Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome on into TF1eSports. It is round 7 of Season 1. It is the Red Bull Ring tonight. And boy, it could mean a lot for some of our drivers in the hunt for our championship with only 4 rounds to go here in the season. So let's have a look at our driver standings going into tonight. We have a Pam leading by 26 points, having an awful round last week, and there were 2 weeks ago, because we just had our break. They are looking to really bounce back as Umbi converted pole to the win, bringing down the gap by 26 points, as did his main teammate John Liu. And there we go. So the top 3 there separated by 26 points there, but 2 drivers on the same amount. Then it's Captain Foxy and Kindle Zero with sharing 43 and 38 points there. They are honestly looking like they're out of the picture once tonight is concluded, but it does depend. Can a Pam, will a Pam's bad form continue there? Also known as TH in the standings. So there's your top 5, and then just a bit outside that, Steve Ronaldo taking his first podium of the season, all the way up to 6th place for him, followed by Steve, Spindler, Ninja, and Marito, with Jackie, The Vins, Kai, Vomanda, and Guitars rounding out your top 15, and then without points are Chirolo, John Lou Alex, Scambro, Luigi, and Pinolo. Alpine obviously leading your constructors so far, but Williams not too far behind there by 11 points, but also maybe Foxy and Kindle Zero could bring home points for the McLarens rather than their own drivers, but also don't forget their teammate battle as well. They will want to make sure they can finish ahead of one another. Then it's Ferrari and Sauber rounding out your top 5, a long way off those two, so Ferrari just looking to consolidate 4th place at this rate, to be honest. Then it's Aston Martin, Haas, Racing Bulls, Red Bull Racing, and Mercedes all rounding out your top 10. So a tight battle there for that final top 5 position. And can Mercedes do something to get within that battle tonight? Well, qualifying has already started, and we haven't missed a lap so far. It looks like it's John Lou Alex out there to start the first flyer, but invalidated already. So let's have a look at what TH is doing. It seems like they've recently changed their name, as I think Marito just got a penalty for a serious collision here. And, well, finally back with us after 3 weeks, it is Saiju, who of course took that dominant pole and win back in China, which feels like a lifetime ago, to be honest with you. That was of course round 5 there, and definitely was the biggest surprise there. In terms of a debutant from him, was his first race, took pole and converted it to the win. I think he's the 3rd or 4th driver to do that this season. Of course, Umbi being one, a Pam being one, who's now known as TH. But here we go, Saiju to the line. That's a 104.161 to start the proceedings, and that is a gauntlet for the guys to look to beat tonight, as Marito hit Saiju's teammate. Of course, Saiju a reserve driver as of right now, also getting started on his lap. But also, as we spoke about earlier, Foxy in that beautiful chrome livery McLaren. I absolutely love that. Gives me flashbacks to when I used to watch Formula 1 back in between 2006 to 2008. Was it when they had that chrome livery on? I could be getting a bit mixed up, though. I'm sure they had it on for much longer than that, though. But it does throw me back to that kind of period of Formula 1. As Foxy to the line now, he's up to 2nd place on 104.270. Pam already looking a bit off the pace there, a few hundredths off, well, a few tenths off, beg your pardon, as now John Liu has come across the line as well. And of course, as we said earlier, Pam a little on the back foot here, but now I'm gonna have to get used to calling them TH, as I've had to get used to 6 races calling them a Pam, but now that's going to be no more as of this evening. So in case I do say a Pam, I am secretly talking about TH there. So of course I'll do my best to adjust there. Kindle Zero also in the chrome liveried McLaren. Let's just see what Captain Foxy's teammate can do as we go down the straight between turns 3 and turns 4. Downhill section through here. Close that DRS under braking. Meet that apex. That was a bit too much curb from the McLaren there, so just gonna have to watch that. It actually is better to carry the momentum off the curb there. Umbi just sets the time as we're watching this up into 3rd place, but at the moment we're seeing Kindle Zero now go through turn 7, and then it's turn 8 through here, flat through there. Not a lot of battery left for Kindle Zero, but it is a very, very short lap here. It is about 2.7 miles of a circuit, but the average high speed brings it to one of the shortest lap times here. So we're going to only have 36 laps, and that is Kindle Zero all the way up to 4th place for now. But Ninja as well, also trying to get a lap in now on a flyer, and this is his second lap, so it looks like he invalidated his first, and it is easy to do it around the Red Bull Ring, particularly through the final couple of turns here, and then there's always turn 1 as well. And Ninja's gonna have another moment there through the final few corners, and that's an invalidation for him, I'm afraid. It wouldn't once the timer had caught up there, it was about a 105, so it would have been one of the slowest, but not the slowest. That at the moment goes to Kai, but it sounds like he was just hanging on to do a better lap. So 007 through sector 1, he is exactly on the big time, but not in terms of his personal best there. So it looks like the error happened either in sector 2 or sector 3. He's just going down the hill now into turn number 4. Going through 5 through here, so a bit of a flat corner. Let's go on board with the Mercedes driver. This team currently on 2 points only. Bit of a surprise there. Didn't expect to see them at the bottom. As now, yeah, Kai's mistake definitely came through round here. So don't quite know what happened, but it seems to be sectors 2 and 3 where he'll gain the time, and Scambro, his teammate, just kind of trying to go from strength to strength. We'll talk about Scambro in a moment, but let's finish off this lap with Kai as he goes through the final corner right now, and it's going to be a 106.271, so not much of an improvement, and he'll stay last for the time being. As Ninja, has he started yet another flyer? He indeed has. So it covers off his invalidation, but what's the time going to be? It's just going to be a... So anyway, Saiju now starts a hot lap going into turn 1 and currently looking to beat his personal best there, a 104.161. Let's see the difference in how Saiju attacks the corners here. He's just going down the straight. This is fake turn 2, followed by the very real turn number 3 here. Heavy on the brakes there, maybe a bit wide there. Not the best entry and exit there from Saiju. A bit squirrely on the exit. DRS opening for what will be the, well, technically the third time round the lap. You technically have the first DRS zone before the start-finish line, but it is the one that starts your lap. So technically, it's DRS zone 1 as you approach turn 1. And then, now he's going through the section here. Now, this is where the driver in front can, well, if you were thinking about the race here, you're 2 steps ahead, going through turns 5, 6, 7, 8, and blah, 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 blah. You will get, that's where you'll need to try and find a way to get beyond the 1 second gap, but Saiju abandons the lap into the pits, and now we're going to go to Scambro, and now Scambro did actually have a bit, well, I was going to say he's been kind of having an improvement as he validates the lap through there, so bad timing on my part there, as now going through the final corner is John Lou Alex. No relation to John Lou up ahead there, but Alex, one of the slowest of the lot there, as Scambro now starting another time as he invalidated it on his previous flyer. Let's see what he can do from 13th place here. As we go through now, DRS opening from turn 1 all the way up until turn 2. This little kink through here, and then turn 3 there. Why are the racing bulls fighting one another up ahead there? Ninja on an outlap. Somebody's had to go wide there. I can't tell who that is. Let's see. If it was Ninja, it was not. So John Lou Alex getting out the way there. But either way, he's not leaving a lot of room, and his internet, a little bit unpredictable there. That could cause trouble for the Mercedes that we are observing right now, who of course had, I think he had a disconnect, and there we go again. That racing bull's gonna be, this is not going to be Scambro's fault at this point, as somebody did improve there. I think John Lou went up into 3rd place there, but it does seem like we're experiencing a few glitches with the lobby here, so do forgive me. Things might not look as they seem. Scambro has bravely decided to remain close there. I would have abandoned the flying lap by now and not bothered with it, and that is one of the reasons why. Dirty air there, and that takes you beyond the white line and invalidates your lap yet again. But now Ninja will go to start his lap, but surely this is going to be a penalty, because I just don't see how logically you can just keep a car like that on the track. I just don't see the purpose of it. In any other league that I am in, a driver like this would be kicked, and for good reason. It just causes an unsafe racing environment, virtually, of course. And I just don't see why this should be allowed. A Zombie now goes to the top of the timing boards and beaten Saiju's time by over 0.03 of a second there. and we'll see if that stays, although I highly doubt it. Times will begin to come in as Foxy has started a lap, and a Kindle Zero has finished off, and it's getting closer and closer to that pole time, but Umbi remains top for now. But we'll go back to Ninja, who's apparently on an outlap. I'm apparently not... Okay, I think this is just a glitch. We'll just wait and see how this lap finishes, but I do not think he is on an outlap. Is he? I don't think he should be. Unless I got things very wrong there. Yeah, no, I was right. So he's up to 9th place there, but his internet is not having a good time at all. So just one for the drivers to look out for us. Now, Foxy is going through. There was an Alpine there. That will have been of Umbi there, just getting out of the way of the McLaren. Umbi currently top of the time balls, as we've already said, and Foxy just trying to get his foot back in the door, starting tonight on 43 points, and that's 33 points behind the championship leader TH there. TH also not having, well, didn't have a good time last week, but things looking better this week for the Alpine driver. But of course, that will frustrate the championship contenders around him, like Umbi and John Liu. In the other Alpine, AMG John Liu to be specific. Saiju now tried to, well, do 2 in a row for his own attendance. Of course, last time he was here was about 3 weeks ago in China, that round where he took pole position and then took the race win, hoping to do it again, but is in a different car. He was in a Ferrari back in 3 weeks ago, but this time he's downgraded to the Haas. I can't really blame the organisers for doing that, to be honest. Incredible pace he's shown, but is it going to matter? Saiju now to the line. This is looking very quick. It is very, very quick indeed. That's nearly half a second beaten to Umbi, and if you want to demoralize the field, that's how you do it. But what does TH have in response here? Known as a Pam for the first 6 races of the season, but has since changed his name, and now he is going to be just going through the middle section. That's turn 6, 7, and 8. He is going through right now. That's 3/10 up on his personal best. Just over 6 minutes of the session remaining. Where has the time gone? I do ask, because this qualifying session has absolutely flown by so far. A Pam here hoping to improve on 6th place last week, as Ninja has now left the session. So I wonder if his disconnection issues has caught up with him, and it's only 5th place here for TH. That is really unfortunate, because we haven't given much conversation to. He's currently in 11th, and Kai as well, improving on his personal best. Remember, the delta in the top right only compares to your personal best, but it looks like something happened, and he has abandoned the lap, so he won't be going any faster for the time being. What about John Llewellyn? Half a 10th up on his personal best in Sector 1. Can he keep the momentum going through Sector 2? Scanbro still without a lap as of right now. And as they go through, that was another half a 10th there through Sector... That was Sector 2, that was. And so here we go again through Sector 3 for the final time on this flying lap for the Racing Bulls driver. That did not look good going through 9 and 10. So let's see, to the line he goes, and that is barely an improvement there. And let's see if Scanbro can finally get a time there. We've also got John Liu coming to the, well, coming somewhere, and he's on, well, he's actually matching his personal best from his current flying lap. And you know what, from 2nd to 6th, there is nothing to separate them at all, just under 3/10 of a second. But of course, there's still just over 4.5 minutes to go, and this picture could change rather rapidly. But John Liu is not improving here, and he's on fresh soft tires and gets it all wrong going through turn number 8, and John Liu retires. That one confuses me. That one confuses me. I didn't see the need in that, as the Vince has just gone to the line now in the Aston Martin. He's up to 7th place. He had a really unfortunate final couple of laps a couple of weeks ago in Qatar. A puncture on the final lap gave a disconnected TH another point there to his campaign, so it reduced the damage a little bit. But I am confused as to why John Liu has retired there. Did he use up all of his softs? Maybe? I'm confused. I don't know. There are just some things which confuse you as a commentator, and that is one of them. So I'm not quite sure what was going on there. Spindler also has just gone to the line with a 104.677. Is Scanbro still flying? No, he is invalidating. Still no time on the board for the Mercedes driver as of right now. And he goes on the gravel as he goes through turn number 4 there. And, well, he's just probably trying to get himself set up for another lap. We all know Kindle Zero has just invalidated as well, but I think he just came off a flyer as well, so he's up into 3rd. But then again, I think that flyer's been there for a while now, so I'm currently struggling to keep up with things as they are. But, you know, what we are not struggling to keep up with, CNA Saiju up into 1st place there, and just doesn't look like he is going to be touched there, and that's his teammate Marito coming out of the pits there. And he's just on the pit exit along with... Who is that? That is either Umbi or John Liu. And that is Umbi now on an outlap with Marito. Is Saiju going to make his move anytime soon? He can wait for the under 2-minute mark, which we are probably not going to see, as there was a brief yellow flag there. It looks like Kindle Zero is on another flyer already, down on his personal best through Sector 1, and he doesn't have a lot of time to make it up, because remember, the high-speed nature of the circuit means it is one of the shorter lap times here on the Formula 1 calendar. There is also the Vins just up ahead as well, but they are down on their personal best as well, so we'll cut back to Kindle Zero for the time being. There's also a Mercedes ahead. That might be Kai as well, who is actually improving, so this is 3.5 tenths through Sector 2, and the Vins retires as well. And that is in the pit lane, so that they can't go any faster, they feel, as Kai goes up into 11th there. But Kindle Zero is improving marginally, and it's not really going to do a whole lot. Saiju just has the pace of Kindle Zero. Oh, tried to keep it on the track, but he really messed up turn 10. And unfortunately for him, that just kind of spelled the end of his flying lap. And I don't know if he's going to have the tyres to go for another one. He's already on 2-lap-old softs, and that could spell the end of Kindle Zero. So he is very vulnerable to his own teammate and TH behind him as they all go for their final flying laps, as Saiju is currently on an outlap right now. His teammate is on a flyer also. This is not over just yet, guys. And Scambro is also on an outlap, and he'll easily get to the start-finish line. There's Kindle Zero there, just allowing Marito through, as I think Saiju gave Marito a bit of a slipstream there, so this might help him out to go from 10th place here. Kai, of course, has already completed the flying lap. That's the other Mercedes ahead of this duo. But with Scambro, will be the last across the line here, and he will start a flying lap. And in fact, he's just ahead of Marito now, and really needs to get his foot to the floor, or else he will be in trouble. For impeding Marito, but there's not going to be enough of a gap to do that. Scambro already through the final corner and starting his flying lap, so Marito hasn't got anything to worry about. He's going to have a straight shot to the line. That is going to be 9th place, but Saiju now will be the last across the line with 32 seconds to go. He starts his final flying lap, but I don't think he's in any trouble at all, as TH goes to 2nd place, but he's not done enough to pip Saiju yet again, as Umbi will also go to the line. Does he have just enough time? Can he do it? He will get another lap in, as Foxy has retired as well. He's crashed through turn 1. What happened? We didn't see what happened, but Umbi is now flying away. Scambro is going to be first to the line, but invalidated, so Scambro will have no time on the board. So we now go to Saiju, because his teammate Marito has already set his final flyer. He's not moving from 9th place, unless if John Lou Alex has got something in the tank that we haven't seen. Maybe another trick up his sleeve. But Saiju now, just to solidify pole, so that Umbi can't do anything. Saiju is running the limits of the track. He's using all of it to his advantage. My goodness me, that is inches there, and he doesn't improve, but it was a fine effort. TH, of course, already set his lap, but now Umbi is really the only one who can make any sort of dent into Saiju's ruining championship contenders party. Can Umbi do anything to get to the pole position? He's going to... No, he's just gonna pip TH there in 2nd place. And that is going to be important there for Umbi in his championship charge. Remember, started tonight, runner-up in 2nd place, 26 points behind. And, well, with 7, 8, 9, 10, 4 races to go, he needs all the points advantages he can get. Starting ahead of TH is the sign of a foot in the right direction. But Foxy there, down in 5th. and John Liu, though, even worse, down in 6th there. So 2 of the top 4 out of the picture in qualifying. But will that change for the race? Only one way to find out. We'll have 36 laps round the Red Bull Ring. That has been part of F1's history and for so long. But your official qualifying results from 1st to 14th, it is Saiju, Umbi, TH, Kindle Zero and Foxy rounding out your top 5. Then from 6th to 10th is John Liu, Levins, Spindler, Marito and Ninja. Then from 11th to 14th it is Kai, Guitars, John Llewellyn and Scanbro without, well, the Mercedes without a time, but it doesn't matter. He will start 13th as Marito did get a 5-place grid penalty for causing a collision with one of the drivers during qualifying. Anyway, we are about to go on a quick break as, it's gonna be a wet qualifying and a wet race even, and we'll be underway at some time. I will try and find that out for you just before anything. An announcement is we'll be ready at 8:31 if you're in the UK, but 9:31 if you're in Italy. So of course, let's take a 5-minute break, but either way, Saiju yet again in pole position, right where he wants to be. And we will soon find out if he can take the win. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few minutes' time. We are only 1 minute away from getting underway, but welcome back to TF1's Season 1, Round 7 here in Austria. We are about to get underway for 36 laps of racing here at the Red Bull Ring, of course, currently opened in 1968, replaced an airfield, and originally named the Austria until 1995, to where it's been changed to the A1 Ring. This was because the track went under changes between 95 and 96, and the phone company A1 paid for the work, hence the renaming. In 2004, however, then due to financial struggles, Red Bull then brought the track, and then since 2014, the circuit has been frequent on the F1 calendar. Of course, I think Red Bull also made some changes as well, and of course, there's even the iconic Red Bull hangar, which has a few aircraft in there from all sorts of generations of aviation. I've heard it's quite a spectacular venue, so I'm hoping to go at some point or another. But anyway, enough about that. We of course have CNA Saiju on pole position, and just before things get underway, this is your race director here, just running you through the order for one last time. Everybody starting on intermediate tyres, but maybe we see a change to the 4 wet tyres. We will only wait and see. But here we go. The countdown is about to get underway. We have 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Austria, and that is a good start there from Saiju. Zombie has to be covered off, but there's Kindle Zero trying to get past. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? It's not Umbi, and Foxy also finds his way through TH there, as now Foxy trying to get past Umbi, pushes him off the racing line, and all of a sudden it's advantage McLaren as they make their way through. Foxy, of course, aggressive on the wet. We saw this back in Spa at round 1. He is yet to stretch those legs in the wet conditions, and now he has a chance here at this early stage of the race. We don't know if the wet conditions will stay. Spindler's had a moment in the background as well. He's 2 seconds away from the pack, as Umbin and TH all struggling there through turn 4 to get used to these wet conditions. We just had a dry qualifying, and all of that's been thrown out the window even, and now we have both McLarens up into 2nd and 3rd, and Foxy looking very racy behind his teammate there. And now we go through turns 7 and 8, and still he's looking to try and find a way past. Just needs to be patient. There's still 35 laps at the line, but he doesn't want to wait. He gets through at turn 9 as Ninja is disconnected again. He was having connection issues earlier on in qualifying, which were very apparent to see. And now the 2 friends of Saiju and Foxy are looking forwards and backwards, and here's Umbi trying to have a go into turn 1 on the McLaren of Kindle. No room at the inn for the time being, and that might give TH a chance here to try and get some positions up after a horrendous week last week, but already not the best start to this week either. Not the best for him in qualifying, as Umbi says, I'll have that position right back, thank you very much. And now the Vins is right with us, but now let's try and take a chance to look at your biggest winners and losers. John Liu losing a position, Spindler down 6. I think he had a moment there, but now let's focus on somewhere else for a change, as John Llewellyn and Kai go side by side with one another. Nearly contact between the 2, and there is contact. The Mercedes is pushed off. That might go to the stewards room. John Llewellyn not giving enough room there to the Mercedes that was on his outside going into the entry. So I expect that one to really be looked at. But otherwise, track limits shouldn't really be an issue here, as you do have to take it more cautiously in the wet, so I don't see the drivers really going beyond the white line. And then as soon as I say that, there's Foxy going on the edge of glory there, and he was trying his absolute hardest to keep it between the white lines, and there you go, fastest lap from Foxy there. He was actually 3/10 faster than the Haas in front of him, so the pace currently with Foxy at this current moment in time. Now, I must remind you, outside of the track, these two are very good friends. Let's see if that remains the same on track, although I highly doubt it. But I also am going to cut back to this very briefly. This battle between Umbi and TH has closed in. Remember, this is a battle for the championship. No room there for TH to go alongside at turn number 3. And, well, John Llewellyn and Scambro are also exchanging positions again like they were last lap at the very same area. And that is John Llewellyn getting past the Mercedes there. But does the Mercedes have anything to fight back with? Not at this early point of the be straight, but let's see, going down the hill as he now goes to the inside, trying to find room, but oh, there's contact between Scambro and John Llewellyn, like there was between Kai and John Llewellyn. So it wasn't Mercedes last lap, it just wasn't Scambro that time around, but Scambro just trying not to finish last, in all honesty. That's his expectation, as Foxy now is being dropped by Saiju at this current moment in time, so probably recharging the battery, as it looks like to me Foxy went just beyond the white line, so Mark, his engineer, will just be on the phone to him saying, hey, try not to do that again, as now Saiju will take the fastest lap of the race, and Foxy, well, is going to have to try for another opportunity. I do think TH is getting very, very close to Umbi, and this time around should surely have a go, as soon as I said that 3-second penalty shouldn't be an issue, Scanbro goes and says, I can prove you wrong, but maybe not in the best possible way. But here's TH to the inside of Umbi into turn number 3. Here we go, as there you go, to the inside goes to Williams, but just nowhere to go, has to come to a complete stop there on the anchors, and that allows Umbi back through, and now the Vins is going to have a run at the championship leader, as Scanbro and John Llewellyn are going to do battle yet again, but nowhere for the guys up ahead to go, as there's a bit of contact between John Llewellyn and Scambro. John Llewellyn all the way to the grass there. Technically, if you do that to my teammate, I'll do it to you as well. And, well, he repaid the favour, just not quite as aggressively. Oh, goodness me! No room there for John Llewellyn, as there's the Hasamarito going straight through, and Scambro slots in behind. Good, slots in front, beg your pardon, of the Racing Bulls, but slots in behind the Haas there. And that is, well, this is starting to get very scrappy at the back of the field here. We don't often get a chance to see what the guys are doing up ahead, as the battle at the front has been so entertaining. And now Kindle Zero wants to throw his number into the ring here. He wants a chance at this battle for the lead and wants to separate the two friends as best he can, and Foxy looking like he's the faster of the three, although Kindle Zero did take the fastest lap, but on the straight line speed it just looks like Foxy has the better of Saiju and his teammate. But when they get to the corners, so that is between 6, 7 and 8, and then of course 9 and 10 to finish the lap, it just looks like Foxy is the lesser of the two around him. So Kindle Zero and Saiju have the advantage in the corners at the very least, and that's how it will work in the wet until DRS is activated again. It may not be activated again. Maybe the rain will stay for the entirety of the race, and that may cause a problem to some of the strategies as well. It will be a one-stop strategy if that's the case, although I don't think the rain is falling. Well, it is falling, but just spitting down, in all honesty. Not much of a typhoon here in Austria as well. Actually, I'm just looking at that battle for 4th place now. TH is right on the back of Umbi. Maybe he can finally try something yet again. Of course, no DRS in these wet conditions, as it would be in real life. Foxy with the fastest lap of the race. I'm keeping an eye on that gap, which just seems to ebb and flow just underneath that 1 second bubble. And now Kindle Zero is also trying to do the same thing, but has kept up with his McLaren teammate as well, just over a second to him as well. So at the moment, McLaren look to have the advantage at this part of the race so far. If it does dry up, that could very well change very, very quickly. So the three at the front need to make use and extend the gap for as far as they can in these conditions. We'll see, of course, how long these conditions will stick around, but it looks like a dry line is forming, but the rain has stuck around for the time being. And even then, Umbi and TH are just trying to find a way past the Alpine in front of them. Maybe they're also being a bit held up here. Of course, remember, Dirty Air is, how's the weather? Says one of the chatters on the YouTube channel. It's overcast. It's British weather. I'll give you that for free. It's certainly very British. Hello to you. Welcome on in. And hope you're having a very good Thursday so far. If not, I hope the broadcast is cheering you up somewhat. And again, Kindle Zero, Saiju, Kindle Zero, Foxy exchanging who has the fastest lap. It's more like a to me to you situation. I don't know if anybody here has seen the Chuckle Brothers, but that is going to be a very British reference if nobody has. But at the moment now, Foxy is looking like he's half a second away and getting ready to set up a move, but also closer to less than half a second away. Umbi and TH are going to do battle again here into turn 3, but Umbi again has the upper hand going through the mid-cornering grip but TH looks like he's got the better exit here. Your championship leader going in tonight by 26 points to the car that he's battling with. Umbi to the inside, TH to the outside as they now go into turn 4, and it looks like Umbi again has the better traction coming out of the corner, but again has to cover off the Williams as he gets on the exit. At the moment, no swap for the lead either. That's remaining as it was, so nobody really getting an advantage here, and it's looking like it is hard to overtake as well. So here, what is going to happen? What does TH need to do as the Vins gets a 3-second penalty? That will, of course, be applied post-race. Just as a reminder, Foxy actually tried to remove his post-race all the way back in round 1 in Spa. One of them anyway, but it wasn't allowed. As now, the Vince is straight into the pits as Kindle Zero is getting as fast as lap as the Vince has retired. But why? As Foxy with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Yet again, this has come to haunt him time and time again, and it just doesn't seem to change at all. As Saiju there was very slow through turn 3, and well, might have given him a better exit. That's gained him a couple of tenths there. I wonder if he was deploying some extra special race tactics. But why has the Vins left? Because he got that 3-second penalty, right? I'm not wrong in saying that, am I? As that, well, we'll think about that in just a second. Marito and Guitars are about to swap positions. They indeed have done so. Marito up into 8th place there. But the Vins, I didn't feel that was necessary. I thought he could have continued on. I don't understand why he retired after just, oh my goodness me, as a Pam and Umbi go side by side into turn number 6 there, and it is Umbi who continues to be on top. That gap to the top 3 is now at 7.2 seconds. That is, of course, to Kindle Zero, but now you're thinking that the Spindler gets a 3-second penalty as well. TH must be getting frustrated behind Umbi here as TH is just trying to find a way through. And well, there you go. You can see how far back there. You saw it on the left-hand side of your frame, how far the Haas and the 2 McLarens were up ahead. Will Foxy try and have a go going up the hill into turn 3? I don't think he's going to be close enough to do so, and neither will Kindle Zero on his own teammate. But let's see what TH can do. Also known as a PAM for the first 6 rounds. So for those that are just joining us, this is a PAM you are looking at. And this is, well, he's changed his name to TH, so that's what he will be referred to, I think, for the final few rounds. But here we go. Battery in use for TH here as we go down the straight, separating turns 3 and 4, but nowhere to go. Closes in on the brakes, but just, yeah, no room at that narrowing turn 4. It widens up on the exit, but by that point, you're already halfway on the throttle. That there's just nowhere to go unless you're alongside the car in front, or they just have a really bad exit. But either way, TH is just thinking about his battery usage and is being very, very smart at this point of the race. They're very good stuff, but also credit to Umbi where it's due. Very good defense from the Alpine in 4th place, but also John Liu trying to take advantage of this teammate's stern defense. John Liu is currently catching this pack. He is 6th place for the time being and 9.3 seconds ahead of Ninja, who of course disconnected earlier on, so he must have rejoined the session. As he's still in 7th place at this current moment in time, and he is up 2 positions from 9th to 7th. John Liu currently remaining where he is for the time being, as now TH is going to yet again have another go as Scambro gets another penalty for track limit violations. That's his total up to 6 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. It indeed is. And here we go, TH with a very good turn 3 there. And surely now this is the move done. Umbi has to go defensive if he knows what's good for him. He indeed does, and that's going to be the outside again for the Williams. Umbi will be using his tyres with all this defending as TH there tried to get more revs there to try and use the traction, but nowhere to go as Umbi will now defend going into turns 7 and, well, 6 and 7. And then eventually through 8. So he's going to hold on to that position for now. But this battle is certainly one of the closer ones at the moment. The Williams just trying to squeeze Umbi into a mistake, but just nothing happening at the moment. Of course, converted pole to the win last week in Qatar. Where a Pam had a horrible race, got disconnected towards the end of the Grand Prix after doing a very good recovery drive after what was a horrible qualifying in comparison. 6th place there, but could only manage 7th place. And then, of course, the Vins got the last lap puncture which of course settled his fate and gave Pam a few extra points. But here we go again. We go on board with the Williams driver after the Alpine has an awful exit. Look at the battery usage from the Williams there. They're going to go side by side into turn 3 yet again. They're going to remain side by side. A bit more contact between the two. Who is going to have the straight line speed here? Oh, it is definitely TH, but does Umbi have anything to fight back with as we go down the hill? Umbi's still to the inside. He's had the better mid-corner grip, but does he have the traction on the exit here? Contact between the two, and it's still there. TH is remaining firm in his attack, but Umbi remains stubborn in his defense, and Umbi somehow wins out. That is oh so close to contact. Be careful, guys, because now John Liu is going to think about having a go at both of you at this current moment in time. This is amazing stuff from Umbi. The gap now at nearly 10 seconds to the top 3. I think TH can forget a podium unless if something dramatic is to happen in the top 3, which at the moment has kind of remained at that half-second point, and now TH is going to try and have a go again. Is John Liu going to also think about having a go at the championship leader himself? Foxy is benefiting massively from all of this, but oh, John Liu there, both the Alpines having a terrible exit, and here we go again. Oh, Umbi with a late move there. That's surely not going to make the admin very happy. Of course, TH not only the championship leader, also the admin of this league. More contact between the two. Robin really is racing over here as Umbi again squeezing TH to the outside. This is amazing still. Umbi remains stubborn in his defense. Goodness me, and that Alpine behind must be thinking, come on, just one more little moment and I can find a way through. But at the moment, it is not happening for John Liu at the moment, but neither is it for TH Umbi. What a defense. This is Ministry of Defense award going to Umbi at this moment in time, and TH just starting to get out of the slipstream, maybe needing to cool his engine down, but that's given a chance for John Liu to the inside in the final couple of corners. That was always going to be an interesting outcome if he tried to go for that, but at the moment John Liu just keeping behind for the time being, and surely now TH is going to have another go. Is it not raining anymore? Oh, 13 laps and the rain has stopped. So that means we could be seeing a dry track at any moment, and DRS could be activated not too far away now because the rain has completely stopped. And now here's John Liu with a chance on TH to the inside of turn 3. One Alpine defends as another attacks, but no room at the end there. And there's a very funny looking wheel there on the car of the Williams there, but otherwise it's currently still pointing in the right direction, but just looks like it's just got up a little bit. I don't know if you saw that. Oh, goodness me, it looked like the Williams was struggling for traction as Marito, John Liu, Alex and Kai are into the pit lane. Let's see the tyres there on hards for Kai. John Liu, Alex onto intermediates, another fresh set, but Marito onto the mediums. I would expect a 2-stop at this moment in time despite the cooling track conditions, as Foxy still hasn't come into the pits inside you, going faster. A 1:13.0. DRS yet to be activated by race control. That's oh my goodness me! Cutting the pit lane entry line was TH, and I think he was reacting. You're not really supposed to do that, if we're being honest with you, and that could also go to the stewards. That is another twist in what has been a controversial trail. John Liu, though, is going to be held up by this. And there we go, Umbi goes ahead eventually. TH has also got into the pits. He's on medium tyres, so he'll be faster than the Alpine in front of him. We'll see how this goes. But otherwise, the battle will resume straight out of the pit lane. DRS still not activated as far as I can see. More pit stops coming in. Even Scambro coming off those intermediates to go on to mediums. So everybody reacting. 32 seconds gap to the leader now from Umbi. And will this prove to be a mistake, I wonder? We'll have to just wait and see, as now Captain Foxy departs for the pit lane. His teammate will have to wait. Oh, no! Oh, no! And that is Kindle Zero sent into a spin, as Saiju and Foxy will go into the pits at the same time. Lots of controversy happening here in TF1 eSports tonight. Austria, of course, TH completely cutting the pit lane entry. That will surely go to the stewards. Has to go to the stewards, I am sure. There's no way he can get away with that. But either way, a zombie there cuts the entire corner, and that was Spindler with another 3-second penalty for track limit violations there. So that's his total up to 6 seconds, it should be. Let's have a quick check. It indeed is. He's currently in 11th place, of course. John Llewellyn with 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. John Llewellyn with the wrong set of tyres there. And he is back on intermediates. But you know what? DRS still not activated here as of right now. So at the moment, we are still waiting for that DRS to be activated. Rear wing still not open on that. Williams was within the 1 second point at the detection zone, but in the activation zone, of course, nothing there as of right now. And Umbi will be forced into a defense yet again as Guitars gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations there, as Kindle Zero now is one of the last into the pit lane. John Llewellyn still on intermediate tyres. Has he come in? Yeah, he's made a second stop and he's still on intermediates. Is John Llewellyn got a pit lane glitch here as Kindle Zero now gets onto those hards? As Foxy now, in dry conditions, unable to catch Saiju there. Getting away. 3.6 seconds already. Well, 3.4 now. So we'll see as Umbi sets the fastest lap on those hard tyres. But DRS is now activated. And surely TH has only got an only limited amount of time before he can make a move. As Umbi now, how much straight line speed has he got in these conditions? Not much at all. Umbi will have to slot him behind, but remember, he'll have the DRS when they go to the next zone. So remember the detection point on the entry to turn 3, and surely Umbi now can try and take advantage of this. He's using his battery, and look at that. So is TH, but it looks like Umbi is going to be ready for the attack, and he is. Umbi now to the inside, and that was squeezing TH for all he's worth. As John Llewellyn has retired. There's a yellow flag somewhere for one reason or another, but I wonder if it's for these two because they're still fighting as they go side by side into the next corner, and TH will be behind again. He cannot find a way through Umbi on the wets or the dry. This is amazing stuff still. Oh my goodness, here we go again, 9 and 10, and DRS is about to be activated again. It doesn't matter if TH gets past at this time of asking. Will Umbi go defensive? Will TH go on the attack? It would be a very brave move into turn 1. No slots in behind, but gives the Alpine a push. Clearly frustrated behind that Alpine, who is fighting oh so well. No fault to Umbi at all, but I think now he'll have to give up the ghost, and well, it is going to have to be all said and done. But then again, DRS will be active again as TH actually messed up that corner. Here we go again. The battery is going to be on full, and DRS will be open as well. Here we go again. TH to the inside this time. Does it matter? Doesn't matter. Try for the over-under. No! TH defends this time around. And finally, after what felt like an eternity behind the Alpine, TH is now free of his crutches and his defense. What an effort from the Alpine, but that's helped Captain Foxy more than anything. But it was a great battle all the same. What entertainment those two brought for the first part of those race. But remember, Umbi on those hard tyres, they will come back to him, and DRS will open again for the Alpine, but might just think to really recharge the battery and try and have a go again in a later point in the lap. Marito now with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. I think we will start to see an increase in those track limit penalties now. Just keeping an eye on the battery total for the Alpine. He's actually remained in rather close to the Williams and hasn't allowed him to get away, so this could be continued source of frustration for TH as now that DRS opens again. But again, nowhere for TH, well, nowhere for Umbi to go on this time of asking. Not close enough to have a go, and those medium tyres, they might have been used up already. Those might be beyond their... Sorry, they might have reached the crossover point with all that battling. So I'm just wondering, is the Williams actually going to get away from this? I don't think so. And Saiju is just popping in fastest lap after fastest lap. And I think Foxy is just wanting to solidify second place at this point. He can't catch his friend up ahead as Kindle Zero sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:7.590. But it's going to take a safety car to bring Foxy's teammate back into the equation, in all honesty, as we start lap 19 out of 36 for these two. And here we go. TH will try and go on the defensive again. Has Umbi got enough battery to try and defend at this point in time? It looks like... Well, no, has Umbi got enough battery to attack at this point in time? He's gotten very close to the Williams at that turn, but again, just does nowhere to go with it as the track, well, the track kind of narrows at certain places. And the rain's back! Is the rain back? I looked like the rain was back, but that's just because, if you can see there, I'm very confused right now as John Liu and Marito are swapping positions with one another. Here we go, another battle happening elsewhere. As now John Liu has just got past the Haas there, and there's Ninja still disconnected, actually. So that does explain a lot. Ninja has not come back into the session, but his AI still counts here, which, I don't know. I disagree with that wall quite a bit, that the AI can still score points when you've disconnected. I think if you're not in control of that car, you are declassified from the points. That's my humble opinion personally, but then again, I'm not an admin here. I am just the commentator. And, well, speaking of, let's go back to a battle. It is just over 7.5 tenths. DRS opening for the Alpine driver. And he is catching us. Yeah, the rain has returned. So after going dry, it has gone wet yet again in no time at all. And Foxy might be on the front foot yet again. And we will have to see pit stops all over again. It is a mixed weather condition. And Austria is throwing everything at the drivers. So surely in a certain amount of laps, we'll be seeing pit stops again. DRS will be ending again as now Ninja and John Liu go side by side with one another, but it doesn't matter because Ninja is not in control of that car. As now Marito will have DRS on the Stricken Racing Bull, so that is him up into 7th place. But now needs a 6-second buffer on him, so we'll see if he can get that over time. But now Umbi is probably going to have to start thinking about making an overtake on the Williams in front of him because of the fact that... Obviously, there will be... Oh, Azumbi gets a 3-second penalty, so never mind. That cannot be removed post-race by the stewards either, so that has to be served. Post-race, there's no choice in that matter. Anyway, Umbi will still have DRS, but not really close enough to really have a go down the hill into turn 4. And at the moment, I'm just trying to keep an eye on other battles on and around here. Of course, Kindle Zero trying to close up to his teammate, 3.3 seconds. But then as soon as I say that, we have a battle here for what is 10th place. Spindler gets past Gatoz. And Gatoz will have DRS on the exit. Does he have enough? But there you go. There's an example. The rain still hammering. Well, I say hammering down. It's currently spitting at this moment in time as Foxy is straight into the pits there from 2nd place. And there you go. The understeers being felt on those dries. These conditions are absolutely mixing up the skills of the drivers as now Foxy will come out of the pits on fresh intermediate tyres till the end of this race if it continues to rain past this point. But Foxy goes early to try and cover off any kind of advantage as now Umbi and TH are going side by side with one another. Here we go again. Roles are reversed. Remember, it was TH trying to attack Umbi for the longest time. Brief yellow flag down at turn 6 there, but nowhere to go as Umbi now fighting back, and he's back through TH there, and now the Ministry of Defence will start again as TH pushes the Alpine through the corner. And we'll see what happens here, because if TH is unable to get past Umbi yet again, this will allow Captain Foxy to catch back up. We'll have to keep an eye on the gap here as well. Foxy now with another 3-second penalty for track limit violations here. Despite the wet weather, it has still brought the track limits here, although most of them came under dry conditions. As now Spindler into the pits for his set of intermediates as expected. And Foxy will now continue to move up the field as now Umbi and TH go into the pits at exactly the same time for a set of intermediate tyres, I would imagine. Let's keep an eye on that. Here we go. There's Umbi departing to the right-hand side or peeling off into his pit box as a Pam... Well, TH does the same, beg your pardon. A Pam, of course, was the disposition from the first 6 races, but now has shortened it to just TH. As here we go again on the exit of the pit lane. Can Foxy make this undercut work? That is the only question. on everybody's mind. Of course, Kindle Zero will lose out to his teammate, 14.2 seconds. But now Foxy has to think about reducing that gap to his friend Saiju and try and get past him and then get a 6-second buffer on him as well. So it's going to be all sorts of chaos, as also people are going to need to go into the pits one last time. Guitar's a Ninja. Well, Guitar's one of the last ones out there to go onto their hard tyres, as Kai is as well. But Kai, I think... Did he just go into pit lane? Oh, no, that's Scanbro there. So he's had to go out an extra lap due to his teammate there taking up that pit box. But at the moment, Saiju is still, and Kindle Zero are still on their relevant tyres. And at the moment, Kindle Zero trying to bring himself back into the championship fight. But with only 4 rounds to go and 38 points between him and the leader, that is going to be a very, very tough ask here. As TH now with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. So now your championship contender does indeed have weak spots in his armor, as DRS is still open at this current moment in time. And Kindle Zero still closing that gap to Saiju. That's at 5.6 seconds now. Pressure on here for the Haas driver, who has led all of this. I think he's led all of this Grand Prix, as far as I know. Maybe Kindle Zero for a lap or two before his mandatory stop. But otherwise, I do believe it has been Saiju's show this entire time, as TH is also now trying to bring in. But here we go, Saiju into the pits now, and as is the guy he was battling with, Kindle Zero also. Nobody getting a track limit, well, pit lane speeding penalty, that is, as now Saiju goes on to a set of intermediates. Keep an eye on Captain Foxy, as now he is just going on the start-finish straight now. Will the undercut work to take the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix? It's gonna be close here. There's Saiju on the right-hand side there. Before we cut away, he'll be right on the exit. And here we go. How close is he? There he is, right at the front. Here we go. Who will Foxy be brave enough to make the overtake? His battery is fully depleted, though. As now, wow, goodness me, a bit of a look-up from Foxy on the front right. As now, look at the over-under, trying to come to life. DRS has been closed, I do believe. No rear wing for the McLaren driver, and his battery is all but used up as Saiju goes to the inside, then to the front. But what a move from Foxy to offset him, but nowhere to go as of right now. Saiju will remain the leader of this race, but now even more for the championship anyway. TH is going to try and get alongside Umbi, and at the moment it looks like TH has the advantage, but Umbi later and braver on the brakes, and that was on the edge of grip, and there's contact between the two. This is amazing stuff from TF1, producing amazing action, and TH again presented with the exact same scenario that he had on his first stint in the wet conditions, and now in the second stint in these new wet conditions. Well, it is very much the same story there, as the Mercedes of who is that going very, very slowly into the pit lane there. And here we go again. Foxy. I think that might have... Yeah, that was Kai there just going slowly, so evidently lost all grip on those dries and just had to kind of reset. So here we go again. 0.6 of a second. Is Foxy too busy recharging the battery? Yeah, that's why he's got a bit of a gap on Saiju at the front there. But also, I want to go back to TH and Umbi again. Oh, contact between the two. I think Umbi is just kind of testing the edge of what is legal here in TF1. And Umbi will have to concede the position. But on the over-under, alongside, side by side with the Italian driver. But Umbi, I think, now has given up the ghost. But has he? Hang on a minute. It's not over just yet. TH now has to go defensive yet again. Is he going to lose that grip? Is Umbi going to have that over-under? No, not at all. As now John Lewis just got past Ninja, who we all know his circumstances already. But that is TH through into 4th place there. What a move from the... Well, I say what a move there. It has been coming for quite some time. And I think that's going to feel long overdue. But 14.7 seconds to the top 3. Forget a podium. Foxy needs to take this win and needs to get that move done as soon as he possibly can, because there is a limited amount of laps left. There is a Williams behind, but that is the lapped car of Spindler. So from Spindler to Kai, they are all lapped now. So that is the situation at hand so far. 1.3 seconds separates Saiju from Captain Foxy. But it just looks like now Saiju has the upper hand in terms of grip. Remember, Foxy with a 6-second post-race penalty to serve at the end of all of this. You cannot get that removed in the steward's room. And we'll soon see. I thought it was going dry there for a few seconds as Ninja now into the pits. But of course, we all know why. As Kai into the pits again. Full wet tyres for the Mercedes. What on earth was he thinking there? Yeah, out of all the scores that don't make sense, that was one of them. Kai there, back onto the intermediates now. And well, we're just kind of trying to find a battle now. As Scambro and Ninja, of course, swap positions due to Ninja being in the pits. But Scambro having a very good race in the top 10 for him. So that is good by his standards. But Umbi and TH have not allowed one another to get away from each other. It's currently feeling like there's a magnet not being able to separate them. But then as soon as I say that, it's 1 second between TH and Umbi now. But just to kind of talk about a Pam, also now known as TH, he actually went on a very good streak there. So it was 4 out of 4 races in the top 3. Well, actually 5 out of 5. So remember, he converted 2 poles to a win in rounds 2 and 3. Round 5, he went from 2nd to 2nd place. It's where Saiju took converted pole to the win. And it's looking like Saiju is going to do the same again. As of right now, simply nobody has had the answer for the Haas driver with 9 laps to go. I think the laps now are just going to fade away very, very quickly indeed. As we're also going to be... Well, sorry. As also just kind of talking about that, it was only round 6 when things went wrong for TH here, our championship leader. And Umbi benefited nicely there, converted pole to the win. He's the 3rd driver to do that at the moment. As Foxy does have a pole position to his name, but couldn't convert that. He finished in 5th place of that race. That was round 4 back in Silverstone. As TH there making a bit of a mistake there, but is starting to get away from Umbi as well, 1.5 seconds. And you can see why he is leading the championship, but Foxy will be benefiting big time here. Now, before we go anywhere, between 2nd to 4th, it is a 4-point difference. So, if things are to finish as they are, even though I highly doubt that, considering Kindle Zero has 5.2 seconds at the moment, and Saiju's even getting away. Let's see where things stand. So, of course, Foxy began tonight with 43 points. He will get a total of... Yeah, he'll get 12 points, so that's 55 points. And then a Pam will lose only 4 points there. So on a 33-point gap, that's only going down to 29 points. So I do think a Pam is in the driving seat. And of course, he'll only increase his gap to Umbi by 2 points as well. Umbi not doing a very good job here in the wet. But otherwise, has put up a really solid defense on TH for the first stint of this race, but that could not continue, as it did look like TH was the faster of the drivers. But now TH's race has been thrown into absolute disarray. But also, I do think Kindle Zero will stay within that 6-second window to Captain Foxy, who is going to lose out on 2nd place. So Kindle Zero will even have a bit of a push as well. But I think Kindle Zero and Captain Foxy are out of this championship fight, and TH is just simply the one to beat right now. In this first season, it has been a very entertaining race. Now, I also just want to bring attention to the Constructors' Championship as well. Just kind of looking at that, McLaren get a combined points total of 22 points as John Liu gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Matters very little, though, as he will not really be affected by that. It's the next car is 17.4 seconds down the road. It doesn't really affect his battle either. He's got 25, well, nearly 26 seconds to his teammate in 5th place there. So McLaren gaining big. Williams losing out big time here to the McLaren pair. And just to calculate the points as well, 5th and 6th, that gets you a combined total of 5 points. That's 5 and 6 points there. So that's 11 points for the Williams team. So that brings their total to 100 points exactly. Alpine, sorry, no, that's for the Alpines. So that's their total up to 111 points. The Williams team will get 4th and 10th, so that is 9 points for them. So that's 109 points, but for McLaren with 22 points, that will jump them into 2nd place if things stay as they are right now. So McLaren having a good day at the office, 103 points, and to Williams, Alpine's 11, that brings them within 8 points. So really, the battle now we are focusing on is with the Constructors' Championship, because it looks like to me Pam is going to have this wrapped up before the end of this season. So Pam will be declared champion even the race beforehand, and if it does have to go to the finale, well, I just think the gap's just going to be that little bit too big. There'll be 3 races to go after this one. It'll be rounds 8, 9 and 10, and then that'll be the end of season 1, and sadly that is going to be the end of my tenure with TF1 Esports as well, due to the fact I will be moving abroad. So once this season is done, that will have been my only one. So whoever takes over the reins in the next season, well, I do hope that they bring you the entertainment and the excitement that this league has brought during this season. It may not have been in the Drivers' Championship, but the Constructors still has a way to go, and that's where the story is right now. Haas also trying to battle Ferrari, basically trying to battle for the top 4 there, battle of Sauber. Sauber have not shown up at all. So Sauber's position is not really going to gain. Sauber not really going to gain anything from any of this. 5 laps to go though, and surely we are just delaying the inevitable. The Scambro and Ninja do battle, but obviously it is a bit of a nil point. It's a bit of a dud point, because Scambro will have that position, but needs 9 seconds on Ninja within 5 laps. So let's see if he can do that. But it'll be 6 for him at the moment. But of course, I think he's been lapped by the car. Yeah, he's been lapped by Saiju already, so he has 1 less lap to do. So it's going to be 3 laps at the line for him. Let's see what Saiju coming through now. 3.2 seconds ahead of his friend. And yeah, Kindle Zero is going to get that 3rd place. And I think that's going to really hand the advantage to a Pam once we go into next week. I would cut away to just look at the calendar for a brief few moments, but I don't want to miss anything just in case. Now, safety car needs to happen this lap. If anything is to happen, that would need to be it. But it would only really bring Kindle Zero into a fight with Saiju, in all honesty, but I just don't see that happening as Ninja, of course. Well, obviously, we all know his circumstances. Bad connection from the get-go this evening, and it's just been one to forget for him. Anyway, at the moment, Saiju cruising to probably what has been a very easy victory. Very little pressure for him, to be honest with you. Hasn't really had to deal with much. Foxy wasn't really close enough to get alongside Saiju, and then Foxy, of course, getting his post-race penalties. But for Kindle Zero, great work from him after missing 1 week. After missing the race a couple of weeks ago. So a good jump back from him, but really that's going to be between them. He's kind of trying to help out McLaren in this situation. And we'll soon see what happens, as now Ninja and Scambro fighting again, but Scambro should really be faster than the AI here. What can he do to try and get that gap that he so needs on Ninja? Remember, no DRS in effect in these wet conditions, as we now have 3 laps to go, so no matter what happens, it can only be at the very maximum a virtual safety car and nothing more. So once we get to the final 3 laps, no safety car will be deployed no matter what. And now Marito has been lapped, so from 12th to 7th, all cars have been lapped, and John Liu, AMG John Liu is ahead in 6th place, but 22 seconds, and 22 seconds in 3 laps, that's not happening. So that should be the end of the lap traffic for Saiju. He'll be clear until the end of this Grand Prix, which he has dominated so well. And now going through the final few turns of the lap, he will begin lap 35 out of 36. Well, he did pole to the win 3 weeks ago in China, but for him tonight, it has been a 2nd in a row, and surely if he goes full-time in TF1, he would be one to look out for next season. He'll begin, as we said now, he begins lap 35 out of 36. Foxy is just too far back to really make any sort of impression. Of course, remember, having to serve a post-race penalty of 6 seconds also But now Saiju is just trying to do his best, get to the end of this. And, well, there shouldn't really be any pressure now. Lap 30, well, like I said before, penultimate lap for him. And it has been another dominant, it's been another show to remember. As, well, Apam has suffered yet again, but not by too much this time. Just hasn't been in the podium, which is a bit unusual, as Ninja and Scambro do side-by-side battling yet again. But, like I said, it's a bit of a nil point, and the fat Scambro can't get away. I'm a bit surprised by that, to be honest with you. The AI shouldn't really be keeping up with the pace of this league. I'm surprised to see that, in all honesty. A Zombie now gets another 3-second penalty for track limit violations, but that matters so very little. It's 6 seconds added on, but he's 2.3 behind TH, and he wasn't ever going to look at catching TH back up at that point once the Williams had got past somebody who had really shown a really stubborn defense. But at the moment, let's give a bit of attention to the Haas driver, who begins the final lap in the lead of the race. Remember, all the way back in China, he went from pole to the win. Well, he's only gone and done it again. Did have to hold off Captain Foxy for a little bit, but it has really been without much of a pun here, plain sailing for the Romanian driver. He has just played all the cards right, waited for the right moment to pit, and he really just hasn't been contended at all. Even Foxy, despite his amazing pace in the rain from round 1 in Spa, it just hasn't converted here, and he's going to lose out to Kindle Zero by the end of all of this. But the McLarens will take home the most points in the constructors. They'll be 8 points behind the Alpine pair going into the final 3 rounds. But let's give a round of applause to the Haas driver of Saiju, a reserve filling in tonight, who tried to hustle his way into the Ferrari team, but he was predominantly denied and was told to go in the Haas. But he's made the best of it, and, well, maybe a full-time seat on the cards for him next season. Saiju, through the final corner, will come across the line to win at the Red Bull Wing. He wins in Austria. Captain Foxy will come home second, but that honour will go to Kindle Zero, who of course takes it away within the post-race penalty that was applied to his McLaren teammate. Burrito comes across the line, a lap down in 7th. Scambro will come across the line. I would not even give that to Ninja, as he did not finish that race. That is a bit ridiculous if you ask me. I would say 8th place in my eyes goes to Scambro. That does not go to Ninja, as now TH across the line as well. Umbi will come across the line 5th place. 6th place will be John Liu eventually, and Umbi of course getting that post-race penalty as well, so adding on another 3 seconds to his time as Umbi and Mercedes there go fighting with one another. And, well, John Liu will be last across the line, but of course the cars behind him are all a lap down, so they come to the line earlier. But there you go, John Luca now to the line in 6th place. And that rounds out probably that, well, a round that confirms that Apam is going to be our world champion. It is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Apam there finishing, well, TH Apam finishing in 4th place. There's the Haas driver. The podium celebration will now begin, but of course, in the constructors, McLaren bringing themselves into the mix. 22 points going their way, 103 points to them. The Williams only on 98 points, because they only got 9 points between them. But Alpine on 111, so McLaren with an 8-point deficit going into round 8. We'll go through your unofficial results, and then we'll of course give calculations on points. We all know your race winner. Fastest lap went to Kindle Zero. Driver of the day goes to Marito. Most overtakes was Scambro, with your cleanest driver being Kindle. Your podium, of course, CNA, Saiju, Kindle Zero and Foxy, with your top 5 rounded out by TH and Umbi. 6th to 10th is John Liu, Marito, Ninja, Scambro and Spindler. 11th to 12th was Skatoz and Kai, with your non-finishers being John Liu, Alex and the Vins. Anyway, round 7 has been wrapped up, and that really only confirms that TH has got one hand on the title already. He just kind of needs to do the formalities, finish the final 3 races, and I think he will be champion before the end of the season. So I would say, I would even dare say, give him like, you know, he has a chance to take it next week, remember? He finished ahead of, of Umbi, and so that's a 2-point swing for him. So that's 28 points. He would need to outscore Umbi by 5 or more points, and then he's champion. That would be it, because 16 points is the max on offer. And that would kind of be enough. So there we go. So let's just have a quick look, and let's go into what is going to be coming in the next few weeks. But of course, I think it's all settled for the Drivers' Championship. We're off to Mexico City, and then it'll be Circuit de Catalunya, followed by a finale under the lights of Abu Dhabi. And I think we may just see a champion crowned in Mexico City. We, of course, seen Sir Lewis Hamilton in real life be crowned there. And maybe it's time for TH to have his crowning moment all the way in South America. We will see you then at around 8 p.m. GMT or 9 p.m. if you're based all the way in Italy. And I do just want to say, from myself and TF1eSports, we all thank you so much for watching. And from wherever you may be in the world, we wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe. Stay alive. We will see you next week. But a final thank you from myself to TF1eSports for allowing me to do these races, and of course for the effort from the admins, the stewards, and of course the drivers and the owner himself for putting this all together every week. And well, it is certainly been a pleasure to commentate on. Well, I will see you. I'll be back here 8 p.m. every Thursday to bring you Mexico City, Circuit de Catalunya in Spain, and of course Abu Dhabi at the AS Marina circuit. From myself, goodbye for now.